So, what happened at Fulham? Was it mentality? Was it tactics? Is it fitness? Is it fatigue? And most importantly, will it change? Will the performances improve and the results get back to winning ways for Newcastle United? Find out here on Toon Tactics TV, folks. All right now. Right, evening all. I hope you're all had a great day, whether you're on a shift, whether you're a family, whether you're watching us TV, whether you're listening on your car, on your phone, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. I hope you're all having a great evening, folks. And look, tonight's show, like I said, I was always planning to do a preview for the Wimbledon game. As we all know, that's been rescheduled until the 1st of October. We're still going to do a little bit of a preview for it. I was always planning to do a review for the Fulham game as well. So we'll go forward. And I'm so tempted to talk about some of the transfers or rumored transfers, but I feel like that's the show I'm planning for Wednesday. But we might touch on it. Depends. It all depends. And I've got a great question from one of our special special guys on X as well. You would have Toon Talks. So I have that up for you guys as well. So let's start with the Fulham game. But before I do, please do remember to like, share, and subscribe. And let me know in the chats. Let me know in the chat where you guys are coming from. Where are you guys listening? Where are you guys listening from? It would be really good to know. Hey, Toon Talk, good to see you, sir. Good to see you. And you have to remind me, as always, guys, where you guys are from, calling in from. You're great to have. So, look, kicking off with the Fulham game. When I was doing the review for this game, I'm kind of when you're, again, as always, you guys know, I watched the game a couple of times. The first time, I'm sure you guys as fans know, when you're watching it with a lot of emotion. I was watching it with a lot of distress, a lot of frustration. I couldn't believe what I was watching at times, especially from some of our players and everything else. And I try to be always fighting to be objective, especially when you're doing shows, especially when you're kind of talking to people. You're fighting to be objective, and you're fighting to be to kind of just try and use your eyes, what you're seeing, use statistics, take people's opinions and everything else. So, but if you are to ask me, whilst I was watching the game, what was going on, I would have been, especially in that first half, I would have said that's one of the that first half was terrible, and it was terrible. But why was it terrible? It was terrible for a number of reasons, really. So look. And this is the part when it comes down to, when it all boils down to in terms of what went wrong. Two things came into my mind, and they don't have to be separate. They can be of a mixture of both. One was tactics, and the other one was mentality. Now, when Howe announced the squad, announced the team, got that off. When Howe announced the squad, announced the team, he made a number of changes. He made 4 changes. Let me get my screen back on. Annoyingly, it came off. Maybe because I was already feeling rattled just talking about it. Nah, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Let me share my screen again. Here we go. Fulham, Newcastle. Here we go. So Howe, obviously, he made 4 changes. He took off Livramento for Kieran Trippier. He took off Hall for Lloyd Kelly, and he obviously brought on Harvey Barnes for Jacob Murphy. And there was one more change. That's right. He took off Sean Longstaff for Joe Willock, but obviously Joe Linton was playing more on the right side of that midfield. But even though you see them swap, I said at the time I liked the fact that I thought Howe was being tactically flexible. He was just trying to change things up, trying to be a little bit, I think maybe there was a number of things that were in his mind. He's got at the time, obviously, he's thinking, he might be thinking, and people might disagree with this. Oh, I'm playing AFC Wimbledon in a couple of days. I want to have at least four players that I know are going to be fresh and fit for that game as well. And then we're going to end the week off with Man City. You shouldn't necessarily think like that. I don't think he did. Maybe you should take it one game at a time. But I also think Howe was perhaps trying to also, I think that if I'm fair to Howe, I think he was trying to address two main issues. And before I get to that, Toon Talk, discipline to tactics and position as well for many players. Exactly, literally a mixture of those things as well. I'm going to touch on all of those, Toon Talk. I think when Howe was looking at Fulham, his main concerns were, and anybody who's anybody will know, will be the pace of Adama Traore and the trickery of Alex Iwobi on either side of those wings. And as we know from the previous 4 games before this one, the main issue has been, I guess, us kind of not being as intense in our press and kind of not maybe as fit. And he chose his most athletic guys, Joe Willock and Joe Linton, to deal with Alex and Adama Traore. The thinking, I believe, if you can stop them, pause them, you pretty much halt the whole Fulham attack. And if you do that, if you can control Fulham's attack, we can essentially take over the game. We've got enough in our stock to be able to do that, with obviously the 3 up front, and maybe also if we things that we can change in terms of the players that we can bring on, Tonali and all those others as well. And I'm going to show some kind of highlights from that game as well. And so on paper, when you're thinking about it, when you're seeing it, you're thinking, yeah, that should work on paper, tactically. However, what happened was, and it doesn't matter if you're Pep Guardiola and what tactics you bring up, if your team lacks the intensity, lacks the grit to do this, it doesn't matter what tactics you have on paper. I'm trying to get my minutes up from the minutes. I want to make sure that I got them up for you guys. It doesn't matter what tactics you have, you're going to get it wrong. So it's not necessarily singling out players and kind of talking bad on players. Obviously, we've mentioned Willock, we've mentioned Joe Linton, but the 2 guys that were taken off for the second half, before the second half, was Joe Willock and Lloyd Kelly for this specific reason. If you guys can see here, I'm going to highlight. Yeah, here we go. I'm going to highlight Lloyd Kelly. I want to make sure you guys can see this. Yeah, here we go. You can see this. Yeah, the issue is the midfield, as teams now swarm Bruno, and it's easy to get behind them. Exactly, it's too easy. Oh, you couldn't have imagined this 2 years ago. Let me get down to Lloyd Kelly. When you're talking about intensity, because everyone talks about intensity, what does intensity mean? Is it just it's just a word? Sometimes people could just say things. In this instance, I'm talking about Jules 1, tackling, pressure. I'm even going to include yellow cards as an indicator. I'm not saying you have to get a yellow card in order to be intense, but yellow cards are good, sometimes an indicator on top of everything else to show, wow, these guys are getting touched tight, they're harassing players, and sometimes even get over the top. Just for our own statistics, do you know how many yellow cards we had in the first half? We had zero yellow cards in the first half. So how many Fulham had? 4. They ended up the game with, I think, Fulham with 8+ yellow cards. We ended up with zero yellow cards. So nobody was even pushing the edge here. No one was even causing the referee to think, right, he's a bit aggressive. Lloyd Kelly, aerial duels 1, 2 out of 2. Ground duels, he attempted 2 ground duels for the first 45 minutes, and he won 1. It's not about even how many they win, it's how many they attempted. If you guys, why I think that's significant that he's only had 2 ground duels. If you look, especially in the first half, where was the focus of 41% of Fulham's attack? On their right side, Lloyd Kelly's left side. So how is it he's only attempting 2 and he's only winning 1 for 45 minutes? And you guys know that the first goal came from that right side, and we're going to look at it. Total tackles, 0. How did he get total tackles 0? So he had 0 total tackles. 1 block shot, and that's Lloyd Kelly's. That was Lloyd Kelly's evening. Joe Willock, God bless him. He had a key pass, which was nice. Ground duels, he attempted 2. The same as Lloyd Kelly. How many did he win? 0. He won 0. He won 0. And he made 2 attempted tackles. Aerial duels, 0. And he's lost, obviously, possession because he played against monsters that day. That's our left side. That's our whole left side. For 45 minutes, Lloyd Kelly, Joe Willock attempted 2 ground duels. Oh, goodness. And Traore and Tete and Pereira were solely focused. For 41% of Fulham's attack was focused on that right side. So how do you get even just 2 attempts between Joe Willock and Lloyd Kelly? I'm not like putting them out. I love these guys, but when we're talking about intensity, how is that even possible that we can do that? Big up Flawless. What is good, guys? I've got Flawless here. Man of the hour. Super duper streamer and an incredible leader and content creator. Manchester United fan, we can forgive him for that. But he's when I'm looking at streaming, an incredible example for me in terms of content creating and streaming. Toon Talk, for me, we need a formation change to 4-2-3-1. Toon Talk, I don't mind what formation. At this stage, for me, if at this stage, if it doesn't even matter what formation we put, if people are attempting 2 tackles, attempting ground duels, 2 ground duels in 45 minutes between them, it doesn't matter what formation you put. And that's my concern. So I don't know if that's a mentality. I hope it's not a mentality, because I feel like mentality takes longer to fix than the physical issue. If you're tired, you can rest. If it's a mentality, whatever it is, distractions and or maybe off the field stuff, maybe it's contract, maybe you have an issue with. I hope you don't have an issue with Howe. I'm sure Howe will be smart. Hopefully, wise enough. No, maybe I should have put this guy on. But between Joe Willock and Lloyd Kelly, 2 attempted tackles, ground duels, 2 attempted ground duels, 0 aerial duels, and they won 1 tackle between them. You've got Traore, you've got Kenny Tete, and you've got Andreas Pereira. 41% of Fulham's attacks were on that right side. 41%. And I'm going to show the first goal and my problem with the first goal, which highlights everything we've been saying once I get the commercials off. I promise I'm not trying to rant. I'm not going to rave. I try to pride myself on being objective. I'm not coming on here and saying this, that, or the other. I just want, and you guys need to help me. You guys need to help me to get to the bottom of this. What is going on? 433, 433 has gone stale. Yeah. Who's that? Ian McKenna, we're still above you. Is that to yeah. I'll get to your question, Adieri. Let me just show you this, and this is bearing in mind, and you guys remember the first 5 minutes, in particular in this game, we started off like, we got that offside goal. It wasn't a goal, it was offside, obviously, but we showed the kind of real intensity. I'm like, okay, here we go. And folks have said, at that particular time, because literally scored 20 seconds later, they were it was the run of play, but it's the first 5 minutes. Anyway, I have to stop and start it because I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube. So this is the first goal from Fulham. The ball has just bounced off. Fulham winning. That's Alex Pereira. I don't know who he got jumped off in front of. I suspect it might be. It looks like Willock. This is Willock in one of his non-attempted ground duels. This is Willock. Pereira gets there before Willock. If Pereira and Willock are in a race, in a foot race, we know Willock should be winning that. He doesn't win it. First problem. Willock doesn't win it. It continues to go. Pereira attempts to pass it to Emil Rowe. It bounces off Joe Linton. Fine, it can happen. It was really close. Then number 7, Jimenez wins it. He looks up. He looks up. He finds Traore. Barnes is nowhere near Traore. Lloyd Kelly is nowhere near Traore. Fine. You can kind of say what Lloyd Kelly is where he is obviously there's a line here. He's keeping the line. He's holding the line. But now he's thinking about engaging him. Joe Willock is now making a run for that side. So is Harvey Barnes. There's 2 Fulham players that's literally heading straight to the box. Bruno Guimaraes behind them, Joe Linton behind them. You know, our midfield, literally, as you can see, are in twos and threes. You've got Harvey Barnes, you've got Joe Willock here, you've got Bruno there, you've got Joe Linton there, you've got Gordon. We'll get on to Gordon there. And you've got 3 Fulham midfielders literally about to head into our net. Traore is on the ball now. Traore is on the ball. They're praying that he doesn't try to get the byline. Do you know how many times Traore got to the byline in this game? The whole 90 minutes, 0. He never had to. He didn't. And people keep. You know what? I feel like Antonio Silva has evolved Traore's game. People just, and I don't blame them. People just thought that, I say, Traore is just a fast car, just a speedboat with no brain. In this game in particular, and I wish I had more time, I could have done a whole show on how well Traore done in this game because he was more than just speed and no brains. Lloyd Kelly is praying that he doesn't hit the byline. Traore stands him up. Barnes now gets back. Joe Willock now gets back. There's 3 of them. I know that Tete is now making the run, but remember, there's 3 Newcastle players. He stands them up. He stands them up. Tete's still coming. Traore is waiting. But he hits. Barnes. He side foot. Barnes is. He put all his weight in one leg, so he misses that. What I don't understand is Lloyd Kelly's there, Willock is there. Why hasn't anybody engaged Traore? Why hasn't anybody engaged Traore? This cross could have easily been prevented. Now we know the cross is about to come in, and we've got one player. We've got obviously another. I think it's Alex Iwobi there, but in the box. I know they've got Alex Iwobi and Jimenez. You've got more than enough Newcastle defenders there. Fabian Schär is not touch tight. And I know that because the goal came so quickly and the finish was so good, it kind of makes you think, but we couldn't have done anything about that. We just saw that there's at least 3 or 4 things we could have done to prevent this goal. Lack of intensity. Traore says, I don't need to do speed. I just put it in the box. There's one guy in the box. I know Alex Iwobi is there, but look where Alex Iwobi is. He's still not touch tight. The ball comes in. He's chested it away. He's the other side. Fabian Schär is still not touch tight. Gordon has stopped running. Joe Linton is watching. And part of the problem for Joe Linton is he knows that Emil Smith-Rowe is next to him. I know people were blaming Joe Linton for this, but Joe Linton's got Emil Smith. He thinks Jimenez, because he's facing away, he's about to lay it off to Smith-Rowe. He doesn't lay it off to Smith-Rowe. That's part of the trick. Instead, he turns, and we know what happens there. He scores. Guys, somebody tell me that we couldn't do anything about that goal. Somebody tell me 2 years ago if Fulham were doing this, that Traore would have even got to that, and it would have even got that cross off with 3 Newcastle players: Barnes, Willock, and Lloyd Kelly. This is why Lloyd Kelly got 0. He got 2 attempts. This is why Willock got 0. Is he fit? Is it a mentality? You know, so and this is only going to get worse. But we have to drink the hard medicine first. Oh, sorry, Adi Rami. Hi, Philip. How are you? Dubs in goal. Dan Burn centre back. Dubravka in goal. No, I can't do it, Adi Rami. I can't do it. You're so consistent and I love your comments, but I can't put Dubravka in there. I'm so sorry. Fabian Shaw, centre back. Lewis Hall. Yeah, okay, Lewis Hall. We'll talk about that. Lewis Hall, Bruno, Joe Linton, and Sandro Tonali, Harvey Barnes, Gordon, and Asula in it for Newcastle. So who would you put Asula over? Isak? Let me know. Toon Talk, please subscribe. Thank you, Toon Talk. Flawless, you're being objective. This breakdown is on point. Thank you, sir. Thank you. That means a lot coming from you. Allow me. Adiyemi, hi, Philip. Are you 4-3-2-1? At the moment, I'll be so honest with everyone. I know the second half of the formation changed and it did improve us. But as I'm describing it, and maybe because as I'm talking about it, you might hear in my voice, I'm getting hot. If this level of intensity, if people are getting 0s for ground duels, attempts, and everything else, it doesn't matter what formation you do. Pep Guardiola can do the formation. If we're getting 0s for ground duels, it doesn't matter. Sarcasm City, yeah, big up Sarcasm City. Ian McKenna, our mid just isn't working. Our mid and our defense. Toon Talk, our midfield is too open and too slow. This goal could have been so easily preventable. Traore didn't even bother going to the byline. We put 3 players on him because we're scared he's going to hit the byline. He didn't even bother hitting the byline. So there's 3 of you. One of you's not even thinking, let me just step out. Anyway, on to the next one. Because I guess, folks, unfortunately, it doesn't get any better from here. Let me get to the second goal. The second goal, and you know what? Before the second goal, there was a warning. This is what makes it even worse. There was a warning. For the second goal, Fulham gave us a warning. Before the second goal, they gave us a warning. And I'm going to show you that warning because if Howe's reviewing this, let me get this off. I hope I don't get into trouble. If Howe's reviewing this and he's watching this, unless he knows if it's a mentality and he knows maybe players are going through something is not quite right in the camp and he's a little bit more forgiving, fine. And he's just trying to play it out of them. He's trying to do something for them, fine. All right, so let me share my screen again. This is a warning. Fulham give us a warning for the second goal. I'm pressing settings here. Flawless, you're such a master at this stuff. Like you'll be getting the tackle right. All right, brilliant. I've got it on. So, like I said, Fulham give us a warning. Let me get that on. This is Fulham's warning. Now, I think this Anderson with the ball. By the way, guys, look at our midfield. There's no pressing. No one is going at him. Joe Linton is here. I don't know what's happening. It's a back 3. Everyone is. I know that I'm pausing it, but when I'm saying I'm standing still. Isak is by himself and he's running towards the ball. Isak's been getting a lot of stick from people lately. He's at least he's running for the ball. There's nobody else here. Okay, fine. Maybe this is an order. Fine. Anderson, because nobody's pressing him. Look at that. One ball. One ball and our midfield is cracked open. One ball and our midfield is cracked open like an egg. Right through Gordon and Bruno and Joe Linton. And all of a sudden, from facing towards the goal, Fulham, one pass, everybody's now running that way. Oh, gosh, guys, I didn't even think I'd be this worked out because I've watched the game twice now. And as I'm talking about it, I'm seeing even more things. This is Emil Smith throwing the ball. Joe Linton, who we would have backed, if we was to say, doing the game preview for the Fulham game, physical battle between Joe Linton and Emil Smith Rowe, who's going to win that? We would have said Joe Linton every single time. We know that Joe Linton hasn't got the technical ability of the Smith Rowe. That's not the argument. But when it comes to physical, between two players, there shouldn't be too many. Smith Rowe, put it this way, Smith Rowe won the battle. Smith Rowe's on the ball now because one through ball through our midfield, and he's got it. You see Alex Iwobi on his bike. You see Anthony Robinson on his bike. You see now Kieran Trippier is in danger, absolute danger of having a 3-on-1. Where's Anthony Gordon? Well, he's somewhere on the inside. He's right there behind Joe Linton. I don't know why he's there. Somebody tell me why Anthony Gordon is there. And again, when I'm mentioning these names, I'm mentioning the players. I'm not going at the players. I just don't understand what's going on here. Fine. Smith Rowe, easy layoff. Alex Iwobi's got all the time in the road on the world. He's even going to have Anthony Robinson about to overlap him. Kieran Trippier is scared now. His body's turned this way, but he doesn't know if they're going to pass it back. Look where Emil Smith Rowe is. He's just about to go. This is Joe Linton next to him. As you guys see this, he's just about to go behind Joe Linton's eye periphery because Joe Linton's in front of him. Smith Rowe is about to go behind him. Joe Linton, keep an eye out for this. Iwobi sees it. Easiest pass in the world. Easiest pass in the world. Joe Linton doesn't see it. Anthony Gordon doesn't get to it because he hasn't run strong enough. Kieran Trippier is worried about Anthony Robinson. Fine, he doesn't see it. Smith Rowe gets the ball now. He's facing goal. Joe Linton's like, oh wow, I didn't see you. Fabian Schär doesn't react quick enough to close him down. Doesn't react quick enough. So gives a shot to Emil Smith Rowe. It goes off the bar. This is a warning. This was a warning, guys, because when you see the second goal, oh gosh, guys, it's not getting any. As I'm talking to you guys, I swear I'm getting hot just talking about it because I've watched the game twice, and I thought I'll be over it, and I thought I'll be more, I'll be a bit more calm. I'll be fine, but this isn't looking good. Anyway, remember what we just saw. One through ball from John Anderson, who nobody pressed. Nobody went running after him. Nobody tried to block the channels. Nobody tried to even do some of the map marking. One pass for John Anderson onto Emil Smith Rowe, who was able to turn Joe Linton, who was nowhere near him, pass it to Iwobi. Then Anthony Robinson's doing the run. Anthony Gordon's not quick enough, doesn't want it badly enough. Joe Linton does not pay attention to after Emil Smith passes it to Iwobi. He gets the ball, gets behind Joe Linton. Iwobi thinks, wow, Joe Linton's not following him. That's great. I'll pass it on to Emil Smith Rowe, who does it to Emil Smith Rowe, gets the ball. Fabian Schär doesn't react quick enough. Joe Linton isn't close enough. Anthony Robert and Emil Smith Rowe gets a shot off. This is a warning. Before we get to the second goal, let's get to the comments. It's time for Tonali. I think our attention is awful. I agree with you, Ian McKenna. This is us without the ball. We used to pride ourselves about the ball. We used to be dangerous, pressing, counter pressing. It was only a matter of time before we got the ball back. Now, John Anderson is doing through balls through our forwards, through our midfield onto our defense. One ball. Ian McKenna. It's more how often we are losing the ball. I think, yeah, but this wasn't even us getting caught in transition. This is just Anderson with the ball. You know, this is I'm just saying. There's a reason an average of 70% possession works for Man City. Yes, yeah, there is. Now, but you've got to. But then you also have to see Man City without the ball. You should see how quickly they fight to get the ball back. In fact, the next time you guys see a Man City game, count on your hand. If they lose the ball in the final third, especially, or any part of the field, count on your hand how long it takes them to get the ball back. Just count how long it takes them to get the ball back. Man City aren't just like this prime Barcelona, passing side to side, passing through and through, dictating play, slow, fast, diagonals. There's no way you can get it. They can do that to the team, but it's how they fight, and it's a mental thing. Because the team doesn't get the ball. When they do eventually get the ball, they've got less than 2 seconds to pass it and make the right decision. Otherwise, they're in trouble, because Man City are so hard in terms of how they counter press. It's what makes them so special. Davy Eddie, another inconsistent performance, Philip. We did not strengthen. Everyone else did. We've been found out to an extent. There are problems. Body language is awful. I agree with everything you said, Davy Eddie. I just don't. Some of these basics of what we're doing is really hurting me. Ian McKenna, they don't fight that much. They just don't. They just don't lose it. Yeah. We don't fight. Yeah. Ian McKenna, we are giving the ball away far too much. Yeah. Absolutely. Davey Eddie, completely agree, Philip. Man City are terrific at shooting the ball. Exactly. So let me go into the goal. Now that we've seen this is the warning from Fulham. Fulham gave us a warning. Because now we're going to go to the actual second goal. Goodness. And we're going to see that this goal wasn't by accident. It was by design. Because by this time they figured out that Newcastle are just not there. Newcastle is not the same Newcastle. This isn't the same Newcastle they've lost 5 games in a row to. Right, this is already fine. I'll get on with it. Remember, this is a throw-on. This is a throw-on, guys. We've got. I can't remember who this guy is here, but this is Willock next to him. There's Isak there, not quite close enough, but fine. And I think this is Joe Linton next to Tete, possibly. And Gordon has joined them on this side. So you're thinking it should be okay. They should have this covered a little bit. They're still, at least Joe Linton is touch tight, fine. Joe Willock, the other guy's got Joe Willock loses his guy. Joe Willock lost his guy, guys. And it's not uncommon. But if Joe Willock loses his guy, but it's a common theme that happened in this game. Remember, Joe Willock had 0 ground duels attempts in this game. 0. Now, he does, this maybe where the stats go a little bit funny. He gets a little, he does get the ball. He does flick it on accidentally to none other Adama Traore. And look what Adama Traore is. He's taken up near enough, not quite, but near enough the center of the field. And this is where people now got to understand that Traore has got a brain. He's got intelligence. He didn't just stay touch tight. He put himself in the middle. Now, look at where Lloyd Kelly is. I think this is Lloyd Kelly. He's over here. And he's thinking, oh, sugar, this guy has dropped in. I'm out of position. What am I going to do? And look, 3 of our players out of the game. Gordon, Joe Linton, and Willock. Bruno's all the way over here. Adam Traore can literally stop the ball, have a look around, and figure out what he does, what to do next. And do you know what? And what happens? He does exactly that. Adam Traore gets the ball. He's got all the time in the world. He gets the time to roll across it. Joe Linton is in pursuit, but he's out of position. Joe Willock is back there now on the other side of the pitch. We're all in trouble. There's a huge gap. There's a huge gap for Adama to run into. And if there's one thing that Adama can do, he can run with the ball. But he's clever. Look at that. He passes across to, I can't see who this player is. Oh, guess what? It's Emil Smith-Rowe. It's Emil Smith-Rowe. It's Emil Smith-Rowe. I'm going to behave myself. It's Emil Smith-Rowe right next to Adama Traore. Where's Joe Linton? That's your guy. We're all on the back foot now. Bruno's there. Joe Linton is all the way over here. Adama Traore doesn't just stand there. He's about to drive into that box. Emil Smith-Rowe with Anthony Robertson in pursuit, and with Mr. Ayobi out on that wide. Clever. But they've got a 3-on-1 on Kieran Trippier for the second time. This is like a remake of exactly the Fulham warning. We didn't listen. So it's a 3-on-1 again. Smith-Rowe can look up. He can do a pass it to the on-running Ayobi. Maybe I check that, give it to Anthony Robinson. Maybe I'll drive with it. You know what? Let me pass it to Ayobi. And look at Ayobi's body positioning. He's just passed the ball. This is an exact remake, an exact replay, of the previous. He passed it. This is Joe Linton. Is it Joe Linton or is it Bruno? It's Bruno this time. Joe Linton is supposed to be running after Adama Traore. He's about to burst into the box. Bruno, again, isn't watching Emil Smith-Rowe. Emil Smith-Rowe goes behind Bruno because Bruno's ball watching, and the other two defenders in Kieran Trippier and Fabian Schär are not engaging Ayobi. Ayobi's got all the time in the road in the world. He does what? He passes it to Emil Smith-Rowe. Who's that behind Emil Smith-Rowe? Because he's not quick enough to get there. Joe Linton. And what happens? I know that this is an error from Nick Pope. I understand it's an error. He could have prevented. He should have done better. But there's about, I don't know, how many things did I name there? 3, 4, 5 things that we could have done before the ball even got into the box. And it's a goal. All 3 goals were from errors. I say errors, but that's being kind. But we're going back to the intensity. We're going back to the lack of intensity again. And like I think Davey Eddie mentioned around positioning, intensity, lack of positioning, just like how this is it's like you would have thought that I replayed the previous incident and Philip, you just replayed the previous one. No, this is a new one, but they've done it again. They did the same thing again, guys. And that's from a throw-on. I don't know. Ian McKenna, Dave Eddie, I don't think they are. They are just excellent at keeping it. So they very really have to win it back. Ian McKenna, have a look at some of the Man City stats and have a watch of their game, especially. I understand what you're saying. They do keep the ball, but if you look at the highest, the part of the reason why they keep the ball, yes, they're really good at it, but because of the way they fight for it constantly, there's a mental battle that's going on where because they're so ferocious at getting it back, when you eventually get the ball, you're too tired mentally and physically to even think about making the route. If I give it away now, we have to go back to chasing it. They're so hard with it. Honestly, it's like a process of attrition. Ian McKenna, also Rodri out for the rest of the season, which is horrible, but good news. I don't rejoice, and I know you're not doing this, Ian. I know, but I guess for myself, with all the examples that we've seen, it doesn't matter if Rodri could. Rodri, it doesn't Rodri or no Rodri. We just got undone by Alex Pereira. We got undone by Emil Smith-Rowe. Rodri is the least of our problems. Mikey P, Big up Toon, your content insight is top. Thank you so much, sir. I really, really do appreciate that. I do my best to research and just hopefully give you guys good content. So I really appreciate that, Mikey. Ian, we have had over 100 shots against us. If you don't have possession, you get no goal, you get no shots. Just to say, Mikey, we actually had the higher possession in this game overall. It was the same thing for the Wolves game. We had higher possession and we still got peppered. And we're going through these examples and we can see why our goal was getting peppered. The example that I just showed you, or showed all of us, is this is from a throw-on. This is in Fulham's half. And we get torn right through. This is in Fulham's half. So this is why Lloyd Kelly had 0 attempts on ground duels and one ground duel between them. So they get taken off second half. We'll go into the second half because it was a much better display. And I'll just speak about the Barnes goal before I go into the Wimbledon game, because I feel like I'm so sorry, guys. I spent so much time on this one. I didn't think I would have. I didn't realize I should have given myself time, a little bit more time to process it. Maybe I thought I did. But then I'm watching it again with you guys. And yes, I'm blaming you guys. I'm watching it again with you guys. And I'm like, I can't believe we did this. This is so unlike us. It's insane. Let me take that off and bring it back on. But what do you guys think so far? You know, Ian makes a point that if you don't have possession, you know, the more you keep the possession, the less likely you're going to get. You know, the teams can punish you, and there is a truth in that. But possession is earned. It's not just I think I guess my argument is that possession is earned. It's not just. It's not just you know, Man City and we're doing slick football. You know, we've got Rodri, we've got these guys. It's earned because you've spent that whole game fighting for the ball, pressing, counter-pressing. You've earned the right, the respect from the opposition team that they know, hey, I better make a good choice here with the ball. Otherwise, we're going to lose it again and we're going to get hurt. We're going to get hurt if we don't make a right decision here. It's what makes them so good. Yes, they do those through balls. They got those key passes. They got Rodri. They got all those guys. But they've earned that right. So this is the Barnes goal. So before I get to the Barnes goal, obviously Howe made changes. He put on Hall. He put on Livramento. Who else did he put on? He put on Hall and Livramento. Lloyd Kelly came off. Willett came off. A third person came off. I can't remember who it is. So essentially, if you guys saw in the game, especially when we're in possession, we have three in the back because it goes 3-2, 3-2, I want to say. So Fabian, Dan Burn, and there was a defender they brought on. I forgot who it was. Then the two in the middle with Bruno, Joe Linton. Then the strikers, Jacob Murphy came on. That's it. Jacob Murphy came on. Jacob Murphy was the spark. And I didn't get to, because I spoke so much about us out of possession. I didn't speak about us in possession. And that would have taken another hour. And I can see what we're trying to do. But it was, and I think what we want to be able to do is exactly what you were saying, David, Ian, around kind of passing the ball and kind of being good with it, making key passes, passing through the channels. We've showed a lot of hesitancy to do that. I couldn't figure out why. Maybe because the way, especially when the way the game was finished, I couldn't see, was there a lack of movement up front? I don't think so, because there's so many times I've seen Isak make runs, Gordon make runs, and us not passing the ball to them. So I don't know what it is, but the second half comes on. Jacob Murphy comes on with a spring in his step, and for that flash, for that 10 seconds, we show what we're supposed to do, what we're meaning to do with the ball. So and I think this is what we're really trying to do all game. If I can get to it without getting into trouble. Here we go. So we're about to get into the second half. Right. So this is literally the first 20 seconds. You guys know this. This is what happens. This is Jacob Murphy on the ball. So we've got three at the back. We've got Fabian. I can't work out the guy in the middle. Is it Dan Burn? I forgot now. And Lewis Hall. And I think with Lewis Hall and Livramento, I really like the way these guys invert, especially Lewis Hall. I know he's not, when I say athletic, he's not as fast and as big as a Lloyd Kelly, but my goodness, is he good with the ball. This is what he's supposed to do. Jacob Murphy, this is Joe Linton showing movement. He gets ahead of his Fulham marker. Anthony Robinson isn't close enough to Jacob Murphy. Jacob Murphy makes the pass, but he doesn't stand there. He makes the run. Robinson knows what's going to happen. It's a 1-2, but he can't get there quick enough. Joe Linton shows quicker thought. He does one pass. His defender's too slow, as we said. Robinson is trying to chase him down, but Jacob Murphy shows the determination to drive. He drives. He pushes on. Now he's got the midfielders. He's beginning to make the Fulham midfielders for the first time in this game not have to face Newcastle but turn towards their goal. This is one of the first times we've got to do that. He drives with it. He holds off Robinson. Now this is where the Fulham and you can see the Fulham guys. They haven't responded quick enough. He gets a toe, gets that pass. Isak is alive to it. He gets in front of his marker. This is the only way. And speaking again, going kind of what Ian you were saying, if we're going to play this type of football, if we're gonna like pass through the middle, do Man City stuff, and a lot of times I don't know what you guys think, and the commentators were saying this, we were waiting for things to happen rather than making them happen. You have to do this. You have to not only collect the ball, drive with it, make one-touch passes, get in front of your markers, get your positioning right, and be ready for it. You have to take that risk. Sometimes I think we're a bit worried about doing that because we're worried about losing the ball and being caught on the transition. And it's not just Newcastle. There's other teams that are suffering with it. But if you don't do these things, if you don't do the basics, you're never going to get the passes off. So anyway, you're just not going to pass through. You're not going to cause the opposition. This is the first time we're really worried. So now, Jacob Murphy doesn't stand to attention. He continues to drive with it. Isak gets in front of his marker. Fantastic. His marker now we've look at this guy. Now we've got four midfielders behind us. It's the first time Pereira, Rowe, Robinson, all of them are left for dust. Isak lets it off. Now, Gordon to his credit, Barnes to their credit, their whole body language, their speed, they're ready to attack. And this is the mixture about Gordon in this game. We know about the body language stuff. Oh, goodness gracious, the body language, especially with the defensive side and stuff like that. People are talking about contracts. Does he want to go to Liverpool? But if you're watching this game, the more you're kind of breaking it down, he's young and he's lost hope. That's what I think. But there was a mixture of it. Sometimes you do see, especially in the second half, he was doing better-ish in closing down, but especially when it came to the attacks, he really came alive. One touch from Isak. Jacob Murphy's about to collect it. Really good first touch from Jacob Murphy. Really good first. Now you can see the two central defenders of the Fulham. Their body language is all the way to the other side. Now the game opens up. Now the chase is on. Gordon to one side, Barnes on the other. Jacob Murphy just drives into the spot where Isak was. Fantastic. And by the way, Jacob Murphy is about to lay off a pass that if it was Kevin De Bruyne, people will be waxing lyrical about it. He doesn't take the easier option, which is Gordon right next to him. He does it sublime. He does it in time. He does it while Barnes is way onside, lays it off, literally in his stride. And we know what happens with Barnes in these positions. He already knows before he gets the ball where it's going to go. And it was fantastic. Great first touch from Barnes. He's got enough time. He's got enough time to take a second touch. And the defender's even surprised that he lets off so quick in the third touch, and we all know what happens. And that's in the first 20 seconds. And we're thinking, okay, that's it. You know, but that's what you have to do. If you're going to do the passing, if you're going to try and be your Man Cities and your Arsenals, that can't be just a flash in the pan moment. It has to be a continuous thing. Those kind of those way, exactly what we showed. The kind of being in the right position, collecting the ball, taking responsibility, passing, laying it off, not standing to attention, driving with it, one touch, positioning, all of that, making the runs, making yourself available. But even to earn the right to get the ball in the first place, you have to get it. You have to press. You have to counter press. We had no yellow cards in this game, guys. We're not trying to do FIFA fair play here. We had no yellow cards because we weren't tight enough to the players. How many? I'm not saying yellow cards is a badge of honor, but it's an indicator. Maybe small, maybe big. I think relatively somewhere in between. That the team is touch tight, shirt tight, is doing enough to harass the other team where sometimes it's a little bit overboard. Fulham had 4 yellow cards in the first half. I went up to something like 8. Somebody can tell me 8+ by the second half. But to earn that right, to be able to pass what we did just now, you have to fight for the ball in the first place. The opposition team has to respect you. And obviously, we know what happened. We know we've been really good in moments, and I'm not going to show the Fabian. If I show the Fabian shot miss, I think I might have to stop the show early. Because that was crazy. So I showed that to say this: there's a lack of, when there's a lack of intensity, there's a lack of ground duels won, aerial duels won, tackles, presses, counter presses. There's a lack of a physical fight. I don't know if it's a mental thing, if it's a fitness thing. I hope it's a fitness thing, because that just might mean rest. That might mean time in the gym. Because if it's a mental thing, that could take a little bit longer. Because where is that coming from? Is that coming from? Where is that coming from? Is it a personal thing? Is it related to the club? Is it just what's happening on the pitch? Is it just happening? Is it just that? Because in my mind, I don't know what you guys thought. I thought our best game so far this season has been Wolves. We were a lot more better with possession. Speaking of possession, more better with the pressing. But that's when we had and that's when we had Lewis Hall and Tino Livramento inverting, supporting Bruno Gomes, and he was able to go up front a little bit further and stuff like that. So, but anyway. What do you guys think so far of this breakdown? I'm supposed to go into the AFC Wimbledon game, but we've already gone into. I'll speak a little bit about it, and suffice to say, I'm expecting. I'm expecting that we're going to play a Man City rather than AFC Wimbledon, and you'll see what happens there as well. Davey, Eddie, all summed up for they had 3 clear options around our 18-yard box. Ball watching has been terrible this season. It's been horrible. It's been horrible. Mikey P, Rodri being out of Man City makes them more dangerous. Yeah, because that game of, if you're talking about pressing, counter pressing, and passing and fight, people here are fighting each other, red cards, yellow cards, they're all doing it. So yes, they will do. Anybody's watching. That wasn't for the purists. That wasn't, intricate passing through the channels, this, that, and the other. There was a bit of that, but it was a fight. They were having physical fights. Like, who's really up for it? And these are the 2 elite teams of our league. So who are we not at least earn a yellow card because we're fighting? You have to fight. Ian McKenna, they don't have a replacement for Rodri. At this stage, if we do what we did against Fulham, they're not going to need one. And that's the worry, that's the concern. Toon Talk, how is Eddie not seeing all these things? I think he is. but we know that he's very protected over his players, and rightly so. My hope is that he's protective over his players in public, and then when he gets into private, he lets them know what he thinks and what's been going on. And we have to remember, obviously, we identified Willock and Lloyd Kelly. They were the two guys that were substituted come half time. And you know what? Speaking of fighting, all this talk about, kind of Sean Longstaff. Sean Longstaff isn't Andre Pirlo. He isn't Busquets. He isn't Rodri. He isn't these guys, but the guy's been fighting. I don't know if you guys watched the Spurs game. He was battling. He was fighting. Like I always said, he said himself, I have to just run, tackle, pass the ball to Bruno. That's how he keeps it simple. It was better for us to have Sean starting this game. I would have preferred Tonali, but we know how Howe takes his time. Rightfully so. He did it with Bruno, Sven Botman. You guys know all the players. All the players did it with. Sven Botman only played after 6 games because Jamal Lascelles got injured. God knows how, forgive me, that we don't know how long it would take. It would have taken Botman had Lascelles not got injured. We were playing Shelvey, Joe Linton, and Willock. And everyone in the fan base can see Bruno was special. And Howe still played them. So we'll see. Mikey P, totally agree. Our midfield isn't fundamentally good. Joe and Bruno have been out of form since the beginning of the season. Yeah, and I hope that turns around soon. And our passing to our forwards is trash. Isak is so isolated. He is. He honestly is. I feel for him, man. Honestly. Kelly, yeah, Ian Kelly, Ian McKenna. In my opinion, we are trying to play a slower tempo with the less of a high line, but you have to be able to retain the ball. Yeah, I do see that. I do see that, especially because we're trying to invert. I saw it especially in the Wolves game, where for the first 35 minutes, we were very much in control of that game. You had Livramento and Hall inverting, supporting Bruno, so we had that kind of protection and good technical players in the midfield. A little bit less technical players up front, obviously with Joe Linton and with Sean Longstaff. That's why we're caught in the transition, but we amended that obviously with Tonali coming and everything else, became better. And it was working. It was working, but like I was saying, Wolves, Gary O'Neill and Eddie Howe have this thing where they do this cat and mouse of pressing and counter pressing. So I don't know how much of it was us just passing and passing through the lines better, and how much of it was Wolves by design falling back to their final third and just catching us in the transition, so they can hit us in the transition. Fulham have a different approach. They set up a mid to high block, really kind of mid block. They didn't mind Burn having the ball, Shaw having the ball. They didn't care. But as soon as we kind of passed it anywhere to the right or to the left, Fabian Shaw or Lloyd Kelly, they hit us. They wanted Burn to have the ball. We missed Sven Botman. I don't know if you guys remember when we had the incredible triangle of Botman, Bruno, and Fabian Shaw 2 years ago. Fabian Shaw was 2 years younger, and we could slow down the play. We could quicken it. It was incredible because we had ball playing centre backs and the midfielder. But we're missing that key ingredient. I know people will say gay here when we get onto that topic, and others. We don't have that. The teams are forcing us to pass it to Burn, and God bless Burn, leader. Aerial ability, but he's not no William Saliba. He's not going to pass the ball. He's not even Sven Botman. He's not going to pass the ball through the lines. He's not going to take on the ball. He's not going to do any of those things. He's going to do it side to side. And so that hurts us, especially if we're trying to build up from the back. And you're right, Ian. If we're trying to slow down the tempo a little bit and kind of control it, it doesn't help when your centre back isn't as comfortable at doing that. In order to to retain the ball, in order to do that, thank you, Ian. Toon Talk, Longstaff said in an interview, our tactics this season are to be hard to beat. Yes, um, that should be the tactics every season. It wasn't. It definitely wasn't for the Fulham game. It definitely wasn't for the Fulham game. Um, they have to improve on that. Dave Eddie. So Willock and Kelly did not make a physical challenge in 45 minutes. Is that correct, Philip? That said, I want to see Kelly centre half, much more composure, greater pass of the ball. So according to stats, when you're looking at when you look at SofaScore, when you're looking at FotMob, when you're looking at I forgot the third site. I want to say whoscored.com, but I want to it's FotMob, SofaScore, but also just the eye test. We were looking at FotMob, zero ground rules attempts from Willock and 0-1 by Willock. Obviously, 0 ground rules attempts. Obviously, we just saw an example where he attempted one and he got his foot on it. So there was maybe I don't know. So FotMob missed that one, but maybe they don't count it as an attempt, as he was almost lucky. I don't know. But it was, put it this way, it was 0-1 for Willock, and it was 2-1 for Kelly. And in terms of I was speaking to, I don't know, I forgot the gentleman's name, Jake. He's a scout on X, and I was saying, how about just put like Kelly in the middle then? We just put instead of Burn and put obviously Haaland as left back. I think the two things that you would miss in terms of having Burn away is obviously his leadership and his aerial ability. But if Howe wants to do this, as it was being said, this kind of slower play, possession-based play, Kelly's is there above Burn. So you'd have Kelly and Shaw in midfield. As a centre backs, with Hall left back and Livramento as right back, and you've got your ball playing centre backs that way. You lose the leadership of Burn, and you lose his aerial ability-ish. Obviously, Kelly isn't exactly 5'4", is he? So, but you lose that. But if things are continuing the way that you have, if you're going to do this style, you might as well just implement it now. So it'll be interesting. It's definitely something that Howe will be thinking about. Toon Talk, against Man City, Eddie will play 5 at the back. We always say that, but he ends up not doing that. The only time I've seen him really play 5 at the back is when we went to Etihad, and it was when Tonali was in our first season there, when we lost 1-0. To me, Ian McKenna, it's like we are making a system designed for Tonali. How he wants us to be more technical. He wants us to be more on the ball, and it is an evolution in our play. And there is an argument to suggest that obviously, if we've got a Gahey or like that sort of or a centre back of that ilk, good on the ball, can break the lines, can take on the ball, can take the ball and drive forward with it, force the opposition back. It's not so easy to close them down. He's comfortable with it. Can even take the ball back to goal, Gahey, and can do the diagonals as well as the through balls. Well, then that almost solves half the job for your Bruno Gomes. Now he can go up. Tonali can go up. And then you can mix it up. But obviously, we didn't get Gahey. I've talked before about, I don't think we're going to get Gahey, certainly not at 70 million. But that's another conversation. We're going to talk about transfers later. And but there is an argument if we had Gahey and kind of people, would have got that. I think Howe's just saying, rather than continuing playing how we were playing last season, we're going to evolve the play. We're going to play how we're going to play. So when we do get those players in, we're gonna just we're not having to change mid-season to do that. So which is fine. Apart from when what's going on is going on currently, obviously. Ian McKenna, the Wimbledon game is going to be at St James's Park, confirmed tonight. Yes, it is. It is October the 1st at 7:45. Sure, I'm expecting, and after that we've got Everton. All right, David Eddie, Toon Talk. Eddie has said so. Or David Eddie, Toon Talk. Eddie has said that we will play on the front foot. I really hope we do not go back to the old days. 5 at the back, we can cause problems. I think we'll get something from Man City. Let me know, Davey, what makes you say that, because I haven't been overly I haven't been overly positive, unfortunately. So I'll be curious to see what may say that, Davey. Ian McKenna, Sean always fights. It bugs me, the dog's abuse you get. Honestly, and it's always for the wrong things. And like I said, he's not Andre Pirlo. He's not Michael Carrick. He's not Busquets. He's not these guys, and he never professes to be. He said it himself. I run hard, I tackle, I give the ball to Bruno. You know, if he's not doing that, that's when I criticize him. You know, so that's my take on it so far. So I did promise to talk about Wimbledon. I'll do that as quickly as I can before wrapping things up. I wanted to do a starting lineup for Wimbledon, but I did actually. Where is it? All right, here we go. So let me get that on the screen. And let me know, I don't know, does anyone here know much about Wimbledon? I did obviously read kind of the overall kind of stats for them. And what I gathered from them, I think they're third in League Two at the moment. They've got a decent defensive record. They do concede shots. They also create chances, but that's quite conservative as well. So they've had a good start. I think they've won 4, drawn 1. I don't know too much about their individual players, but they have been doing relatively well in that regard. So, you know, they're a decent League Two side by all accounts, top 4, top 5 for what they're doing. And so, you know, I'm gonna and apologies to any Wimbledon fans or anything, you know, because I don't like my team being. I don't like it when people underestimate my team, and I'm not underestimating you when I say I'm expecting Newcastle to beat you. You know, that's what you know. That's what ought to happen. You know, so and so I'm saying it almost. I am saying it out of ignorance. I haven't seen you guys play. I don't know your personal players personally. I read your overall stats for the season, which are good. You know, top 4, top 5 League Two sides. We're currently 6th in the Premier League. So what I've seen though is that you guys adopt a 3-5-2. So this is. Can you guys see my screen? Let me make sure you guys can see my screen. Let me just make sure you guys see my screen. Yeah. You guys see my screen. Brilliant. So AFC Wimbledon adopt a 3-5-2. I've been doing this a bit backwards because obviously Man City. We're going to play Man City before that, but we'll do that one later. So 3-5. So they adopt a 3-5-2 position formation. Excuse me. And let me zoom in. So you guys can. Oh gosh, come on. Here we go. So. With a they adopt a 3-5-2 formation when they're on the ball, and I saw their kind of the average positioning. They do like to concentrate their players through the middle. They do push up, and again, I kind of put it with the. So you're going to see these guys coming in and really kind of pushing up. They do when people say high line, you know, relatively like this. Jay Tilly there's a 6. It depends because sometimes you get Jay Tilly. I think it's Jay Tilly or Ball who kind of interchange. So you do adopt a pretty decent kind of. You do keep like 3 or 4. In your last game, at least, you keep about 3 or 4 players at the back there, and so you will try to, especially when you kind of play against oppositions, you do try to push up, and because you got the 3-5-2, you've got that option of really you try to get the spare man in. So you're trying to do, you know, kind of, you've got that there. I don't know why I put our first team I should have put out the team that I think will play against you guys. My hope, and we've been talking about retaining the ball and playing from out the back. And we saw obviously from the example, whether it's League Two or Man City, we saw the example from Jacob Murphy of what you have to do if you're going to play out from the back, and how you have to make things happen. You have to drive forward. I really pray that it was a physical fatigue rather than mental fatigue against Fulham, and that we're looking sharp, because to play out from the back, because I think Lloyd Kelly will probably play left centre back. And in fact, let me change that. I think it'll be Lloyd Kelly left centre back. I think Kraft is going to play for us. Trippier probably at right back. So, and then it will be at left back. It's probably going to be. Is it going to be Hall after the Man City game? Who else do we have at left back? Hall, Kelly. It could be Byrne. It could be Byrne, but it won't be. It'll be Lewis Hall. It won't be Bruno playing in this game. I'd probably be Tonali, our number 8. I think our midfield, we will have Willock, and it won't be Joe Linton on the right. It will be Sean Longstaff. And up front, it will probably be on the left. It will be Murphy, Jacob Murphy. On the right, it will be Almiron. Do you guys remember Almiron? He plays for us. I think he's number 11. Forgot what shirt he is. And I expect Mr. Osola to start. It'd be interesting if he starts with this Isak. It'd be the most action he would have seen for ages. And Pope will remain on goal. What do you guys think of that lineup, by the way? Any thoughts on that lineup? Maybe what would you guys change? I do think I think he might surprise us with a Barnes or a Gordon and see how Gordon's body language is in that game. I won't be surprised to see that, because we have to get past Wimbledon. We can't be winning penalties at Forest and not getting past Wimbledon. David Philip, I won't slag Big Dan off, but we need to mix it up. We are getting worse playing it out from the back. Yeah. No, I agree. I know if you guys remember how long Dan Burn was playing at left back last season and the season before that. And sometimes Eddie had to do that, but now that he's got options, he'll take his time in getting Lewis Hall in. But I agree with you. I do agree with you. If we're going to play out from the back the way we're playing out from the back, we need to have ball playing the centre backs to do that in the first place. Ian McKenna, I think it's in London. Is that the game, or what are you referring to me to? Sorry, sir. Oh, Wimbledon. Ian McKenna. I remember Vinnie Jones grabbing Gaz's balls. Yeah, that was crazy. Dave Yeddy, Philip, we can still give anyone problems at home. We've had a kick up the backside. If we can get the crowd up and banging, we can get something. In my opinion, Roger is a miss. And you know what? I remember that 3-2 game last season where we barely had any players anyway, but we had about 8, 9, 10 players out. Gordon and Isak were exceptional. Bruno, and because Man City were pressing the life out of us, we was able to do that transition. We were defending for our lives. And look, we were winning 2-1 with 20 minutes to go, 10 minutes to go. And it took De Bruyne to come off the bench and to get the win for them. And he had a majestic performance there. So, I don't, that's a good call there, Davey. I really hope that's what happens. Excuse me, Toon Talk. I think he will play Isak to get goals and confident. You know what? That's what I suspect. I really do suspect that Isak will play either Isak or Gordon, or maybe both, and he might even just play Osola on the left. What is Osola? Osola plays on the right. He might play Osola on the right. He plays Osola on the right, Gordon on the left, and Isak up front. Like, just give confidence and playtime to everybody. I wouldn't be surprised. Depends how they feel about after the Man City game. It's hard to judge, obviously, because the Man City game's on Saturday. then the Wimbledon game will be on the Tuesday, I think, 1st of October. When's the 1st of October? 1st of October is Tuesday, and the Man City games are obviously on a Saturday. So it all depends, and obviously then we've got another 6 days before we play Everton. That's going to be enjoyable. Stick around for that pre-match preview. So what do you guys think of the starting lineup? But I'm going to make that change. I'm going to make that change that you said, Davey. And I'm going to add I'm going to keep Osola though. I'm going to keep Osola, and I'm going to say, he plays Isak. He plays Osola on the, where's my left? Here. He plays Isak through the middle. He plays Isak through the middle. Oops. He plays Isak through the middle, and he plays Gordon. And then Gordon has to fix his body language. Gordon has to fix his body language, mate, because we're not having it. We are not having it, Gordon. Let me remind myself. So, A. Smith, 352, Tilly, the file. Make sure I get this right. If I get any Wimbledon fans on here, guys, do let me know. Tell me a new one. Say, who do you think you are? Like, what do you mean? You think you're gonna beat us our ground? You don't know who Tilly is. You don't know who Jay Lewis is. What they can do. And fair play to you guys. That's how I like. Whenever I'm coming on, especially kind of rival fan shows, and they underestimate our players in our team consistently. There's God forgive me, but some of them, this attitude of like they only see, and we're all guilty of this. It's only our team. It's only our team and nobody else's. Goodness gracious. So we know Trippier's going to push up right up there. Kraft, Kelly, Hall will be inverting a lot to support Tonali, who'll be pushing right up. And that's what the problem is going to be for you guys, Wimbledon. Because Hall's going to be inverting, Trippier's going to be really hitting up here. He's going to be forcing your left back. And if Gordon is playing, he'll either be on the outside or hit on the inside. When he's on form, when Gordon is feeding it, he's inside, left side. Trippier's going to be trying to hit you as well. Try and create those 2-on-1 situations with Isak through the middle. Sean Longstaff will be trying to break into that box as well. So lots of runs through the middle. And with Tonali, because he's so quick of thought. And when I say quick of thought, it's not he gets the ball and he knows what to do. He already knows what he's going to do before he gets the ball. He triggers he's like the pass before the pass. He's like the pass before the assist. Typically, he triggers a lot off here. And so you can imagine when as soon as he gets the ball, people are making runs. Longstaff is making runs. Ursula, he's going to be looking to run into your channel. So I don't know how your centre backs are in terms of pace. There's a lot of pace. Willock better be in a fighting mood. I can guarantee you that. So we're going to be pushing right up. So I don't know if Stevens and Bugle for Wimbledon have pace. Regardless, I expect Kelly to be able to match them. So you guys are going to have a lot of problems, especially if Willock, when Willock is really playing well, he doesn't mind running on the outside, and because Ursula likes to run on the channels. I don't know how Ursula is in terms of his link up play. I forgot. Obviously, I read his scouting report, but I forgot how that goes. But they're going to be trying to link up here. Hall, when he drives up front, he's going to be coming in. When he does that, Trippier will be going back here. So he's going to be forcing your guys back here. Your guys are going to have to be watching for all of that movement. We can hit you in the transitions, and we can hit, and obviously we can hurt you in terms of playing through the middle. But the one maybe advantage that you guys might have, if you've got any AFC Wimbledon fans here, is that we're going to be coming off that Man City game on a Saturday. There's going to be a lot of emotions and press on the back of that. We'll see what happens. It's so difficult for me to make predictions on these games because there's going to be a game before this game. So if we were to play tomorrow, if we were to play tomorrow, I expect a 4-0, 4-0, 5-0 victory. And I know if you're an AFC Wimbledon fan, you can say you're ignorant, you don't know any of our players, and to which I say it's true. But I'm speaking just in terms of League Two side versus a top six, currently top six Premier League side with multi-million-pound play. This is my expectation. If we're not winning, woe is me. Honestly, woe is me. But what do you guys think in terms of all the guys that are on here? What's you guys expectancy for the game? I'm going to be thinking about, obviously, especially after the Man City game, my predictions will change. If we beat Man City, I'm going to be expecting something different against AFC Wimbledon altogether. So, that's the thing. But I'll take the comments. Give me your predictions. Give me your predictions before we wrap up the show. What have been your thoughts? I'm going to go into the conclusions. I'm going to read the comments, give my final thoughts on everything that we've discussed the day before wrapping up. Davey Eddie, yes, I remember that, Philip. De Bruyne played a worldie of a pass, yes, for the third goal last season. Yes. It took that to beat us. It was incredible. I loved it. Usola and Isak. Let me ask you something, Davey Eddie. Would you? Because I was looking for. I'm not saying. I think yes, I want to beat Man City, but I'm almost. I want to beat Man City, but I'm really looking for a better performance. I'm really looking to see us up our performance. How important is the performance to you? So. For me, if we perform well, like a glorious defeat, almost like a similar what we did last season to a 3-2, do I want to win the game? I'm not putting it out there. 100% I want to win the game. But if we have a similar type of performance to last year, I'm almost just as happy. Obviously, I want to improve on that result, get a draw at least. But I don't know. Let me know, David, what you think about that. Osola and Isak in a 4-4-2. Oh, that's a good one, Toon Talk. That's a good one. That'll be interesting. That'll be very, very, very interesting. I suspect this Isak plays a lot better with the partner. He hasn't been playing with anybody recently. He mentioned, I remember in an interview, that he loved playing with David Silva because David Silva can just, who wouldn't, if you're a striker, can see the pass from anywhere. So, and speaking of transfers, I know Toon Talk, you had a question. I'm running out of time, but for Wednesday, guys, just to let you know, I'm going to be talking transfer rumors based on I'm literally going to be going word for word from Toon Talk's postings on the players that have come up, and he does so much impeccable research. I'm going to be reading up on those players, looking at their profiles, and I'm going to be kind of seeing how to integrate or would integrate to our team, and what could possibly the transfer plan, the recruitment plan for them if we were to get them from via Paul Mitchell. So guys, do come in for that, and do send me names of players if you do. Let me or Toon Talk know of other players that were rumored to be after as well. I want to include them in that as well. But Osola and Isak and a 4-4-2 is definitely very interesting. Toon Talk, I think there are goals in Osola. I hope he gets more playing time. Yeah, I agree. And draw at best for me. 1-1. I'd love it. I'd love a draw. Well, I'd love a win, but if we got a draw, I wouldn't be complaining. So I've said it, 4-0. 4-0 versus Wimbledon is my expectations. I haven't seen you guys post me. I hope you guys aren't too scared to give me your predictions for Wimbledon, for AFC Wimbledon. I hope my analysis hasn't deterred you that much from even giving your predictions. But I'm predicting 4-4-2. I'm predicting a 4-0 against AFC Wimbledon. Send me your predictions. So guys, look, we did our review for the Fulham game. Like I said, there's a couple issues, and it's a mixture of both around the tactics for the game. So are we, should we have and the personnel, should we have just kept Lewis Hall and Livramento and continued playing how we did against Wolves? Do I understand why, for instance, Willock played instead of Sean Longstaff, and kind of putting his athleticism against Traore, Joe Linton against Emil Smith Rowe, but it didn't work out that way because of our application, our attitude, our lack of intensity in the ground duels, aerial duels, and all those departments. It cost us dearly, and we only showed flashes of what we're capable of. The first 20 seconds of the first half, and otherwise of what we can do, and flashes are just not enough. And we're still yet to figure out what the reason for that is. Like I said to you, I hope it's more of a physical situation where it might be fatigue, though I can't understand why it'd be a fatigue. Not all of our players were on international duties. I can more see it for Bruno and others who've had like 50, 60 games of last season. But if you see how many gaps we're leaving our midfield, how empty and vast it is, it's no wonder Bruno looks less athletic and even less, because he's got no one in support of him. But there's also fundamental problems for all of them, really. That was the Fulham game. For the Wimbledon game, they got that 3-5-2, which I'm pretty sure will turn into a 5-3-2 off the ball. So it's going to be based a lot on our kind of a defense versus attack. I'm expecting that from Newcastle. We're going to see hopefully a little bit more about what Eddie Howe's trying to accomplish in possession. I think I forgot who suggested it, that Isak and you might see a couple first teamers really playing in that game to get that confidence up, to keep that play, keeping game time and our legs going. So I'm expecting a big result. And as I've said, for the next show, which is hopefully this Wednesday, it's going to be a big transfer show. A lot of the players that I saw from Toon talk about, I'm going to do some research on their profiles. I'm going to see how they integrate into our team, if they integrate into our team, or are they those in the middle players that Paul Mitchell talked about, your Sunderbergs and your Carvalhos, who will end up kind of loading out, getting loan fees for them and transferring them out. We'll see. We will see. And how likely are we going to get Gahey in? Would you guys still want Calvert-Lewin in? Let me know. So I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to go through the comments before wrapping it up. Toon Talk 3-0 against Wimbledon. Yes. I like it. Davey Eddie, I realize, Philip, how you can look at it and think, how the hell can we beat Man City? If we had beat Fulham, we'll still be top of the league. It's not total gloom. We can improve, and I'm definitely with you. I'm definitely a half glass full. I hope I didn't. I was just kind of analysing the game. I'm hoping for a change. We're hoping for a change. We're hoping for that improvement. The fans will really, and we've been playing how many games away now? 2-3 games away in a row. And the lads are missing home. We need them back home, and we'll see what we can do there as well. And David Eddie with the prediction there, we should go nap. We should go nap versus Wimbledon. So 5-0. Love that. Some 5-0s, 3-0s, and a 4-0 from myself. Guys, you have all been super duper incredible. You've liked, you've shared, you've subscribed, you've joined in. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And you've been absolutely phenomenal. In fact, even had a few guys that are not Newcastle fans dropping in. I appreciate you. Make sure you enjoy the rest of your evening. And like I said, the next show is going to be on Wednesday. Do send me the players that you think Newcastle might go for, your suggestions that you have as well. Paul Mitchell might go for. And make sure you have a good evening. And I appreciate you guys. And until next time, as always, guys, good night, good evening, and God bless, folks.